What's up, everyone, and welcome to the Manufacturing Muscle Podcast. I am your host, Shae Eichele. Today, I'm meeting with a very special guest who everyone in the manufacturing industry knows as the Hat Girl, but she has more to her story and success to tell than that. Hallie Haupt works for IQ Manufacturing, who is a machine shop in Michigan, and Hallie is an absolute social media guru. Today, we're going to be talking about her story, how she got into manufacturing, and having a conversation, giving you tips and tricks on how to develop a social media strategy for your company. We're also going to talk about many ways that we feel that you can get involved in helping bring more exposure to the younger generation about manufacturing. Well, Hallie, thank you for being on Manufacturing Muscle. I'm really excited to have you as one of our first guests on the podcast. You've been a big inspiration to me in the industry, and I know to many others. So I'm going to hand the mic over to you. Why don't you introduce yourself and a little bit about IQ Manufacturing as well?
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm super honored. I was super excited when you announced that you were doing this because I was like, this girl is going to kill it. But to jump into it, for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Hallie Haupt. I am the head of marketing at IQ Manufacturing. So I oversee, implement, and do all of like the social media, the strategies, the marketing, the branding. I do some website modifications as well. IQ Manufacturing is a job shop based in Auburn Hills, Michigan. We do work for the automotive, aerospace, automation, and defense industries, and we do some concept vehicle work as well.
All right, and I know before we get into your story and all the things that we want to talk about, I know IQ Manufacturing has a pretty cool story, and I really enjoyed listening to you and Chris talk about that at PMTS. So, why don't you tell our listeners all about how you guys went from where you started to where you are now?
Yeah, definitely. This is my favorite story to tell, honestly, and I love hearing our like bosses talk about it. But IQ started in 2015 in 300 square feet of a barn, the corner of a barn in Ray Township, Michigan, which is like the middle of nowhere.
300 square feet?
Yeah,
That is like smaller than an average one bedroom apartment.
it's 600. I'm sorry.
Okay, that
Yeah.
is like the average apartment size.
Right. Yeah, 600 square feet. But they had one machinist and one machine, and in like a year later, they had to expand because they had grown so much in their first year. They moved to Auburn Hills, right down the street from where we are now, in a 3,300 square foot facility. They added some staff and some more machines. And then in 2019, right before COVID, they moved to where we are now, which is right across the street from like TI Automotive and the Stellantis plant over here in Auburn Hills. And we are now occupying a 30,000 square foot facility with over 18 machines, 25 employees, a day shift, a night shift. It's just insane to see the amount of growth that they've had since 2015.
And I think that's so cool because one, that's a short amount of time, and they were doing all that move during COVID. But like one thing that we really want to talk about with manufacturing muscle is like the industry is really designed for advancement. So you can have people like Chris and his partners come in 2015 and say, we're going to start this shop, and then make a lot of good decisions, hire a lot of great people, take chances, marketing, all this stuff, put it all together, and then end up where they are now with continuous growth. You don't see that in a lot of other industries. So I think that is a really awesome story. One of the best kind of job shop to machine shop, style story. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I like to see it because, like you said, there's not many places that do that. And it's really cool to see that, like, when they first started, they were just starting out with, like, injection molding. And now we have gone so far from that. Like,
Yeah.
it's insane to see that growth and the capabilities we've been able to add over the years.
For sure. So let's get into your growth then. Let's go from the beginning. So where did you go to school, college? Give us your education background, and then we'll get into manufacturing.
So I grew up in a very small town. My graduating high school class was 46 people.
46?
Yeah, 46 people. Yep, I knew every single person in my high school from like seventh grade to 12th grade. It was insane. But I didn't really like know where I was going to go after high school, so it's really cool to see this transition. But I went to college at just a community college. I got accepted to Oakland University right when COVID happened, and I was like, I'm not going to go while all this is going on. So I found IQ after that, and it's just been the best journey ever. But yeah, I went to a community college. I got a degree in media and communication arts. So what I kind of do now, like the graphic designing and the photography and the videos. So it's really cool to see that relate into the career that I have now.
Yeah, and I like how you did go to a community college before you decided to go to a four-year school or, do anything else. And I want to bring that, to the table a little bit more because we may have some students listening. So when I was in high school, I decided to go to a community college my junior and senior year to try and get 2 years of my degree out of the way. And that is one of the things that I think is like not talked about enough. And it's kind of looked down on, like to go to a community college. But when you're 30, or I mean, I'm 24, how old are you? 25? 26. You look back and you're like, wow, I really am glad I didn't spend those $30,000 because $30,000 turns into a $200 a month payment. And then you're paying for your school and you're paying for your car and you're paying for your house and like all that stuff. So, like, what was kind of those deciding factors that you were like, you know what, I'm going to the community college? How did you kind of get yourself there? And was there any friends or like anybody in the way that kind of made you feel a way that maybe you didn't want to feel or shouldn't?
When I graduated high school, I literally had no idea what I wanted to do. Like my career path throughout high school just kind of changed, and I was just feeling lost. And I was like, and at that time I was 17. I was in sports and other extracurricular activities, so I never had a job either. So I was jumping into like an area that I was just not comfortable with, and I was like, well, I know school, I know how to do that. So I was like, I might as well just kind of like go get some prereqs out of the way. And I had some family members that were really pushing for it. They were like, you should go, just see how you like it. So it was the 2 week mark for when you could sign up for fall classes of like 20, it was 2015, yeah. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go. And I was the shyest person ever back then. I made my mom go with me to like sign up for classes. But yeah, I had family who were like, you should just go. But if I didn't do that, I was going to jump into the workforce. But I was like, I know how to do school. It's something I'm used to. So that's kind of the deciding factor. That was something I was comfortable with.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's good that your parents also supported that option. I think sometimes kids nowadays just rush into going to college because they want to go party and they want to do this, they want to do that. Parents want them to go to Ivy League school, whatever it may be. But it's important for anybody really listening to this that it's okay to go to a community college and figure out what you want to do before you go and spend a bunch of money and then not end up using it. So, let's talk about what you are using it for. I remember you told me a story about how when you were in high school, you had some sort of trades class, you didn't do it. Like, why don't we start there? So, we're getting into how you got into manufacturing and where you are now.
So I got into manufacturing by accident, so I'll tell that one first. But I worked at the community college that I went to school at after I graduated. And when COVID shut everything down, schools were one of the first things to shut down, and I couldn't stay at home anymore. It was like the 3 week mark. I am such a busybody, and I was like, I need to find something. So I had some acquaintances in the industry who needed help with their small CNC shop, so I went to work for them. But back to like the high school trades thing, um, we had this thing in high school. It's called ed tech. I think other schools call it like a vocational center. But like they had like these classes where like your junior and senior year you could go to this school like 3 hours out of your day and you could take like classes in a career path that you were interested in. So like some people went for like baking and some people went for digital media and other people went for construction and teaching and stuff like that. And I'm gonna be honest, I never went to this school because I was shy. Like I said, I didn't want to meet new people and talk to people and be out of my comfort zone. But I did go to the tour my sophomore year, and I like toured the school and like went around and saw all these classes. And I know you and I talked about this, but like manufacturing and like CNC machinery, that wasn't like something I saw at this school like at all. So yeah, yeah. But But yeah, manufacturing definitely an accident. I never saw myself here before I got to this industry. I knew nothing about it, not a single thing. So it was very intimidating to walk into something that I didn't know and like try and learn it. I had a lot of doubt when I first started, but I've had a lot of people along the way help me through it and just really guide me in a way that has helped me gain some courage that makes me want to learn more.
So, would you say that when you were in high school trying to decide what you want your career to be, would you say manufacturing wasn't an option, I say with quotes, because you didn't know it existed or because it didn't interest you? Or is there another reason that I didn't mention?
I just think it wasn't pushed. I think that if they put that in front of everyone, like I definitely would have like considered like some career path in it. I'm not saying I would have been like a machinist or anything. I probably would
Right.
have landed where I am, but maybe a little earlier. But I wouldn't say I wasn't interested in it. I was growing up. I was a little bit tomboyish, so like I wasn't afraid to like get my hands dirty and anything like that. I did like softball in high school and stuff like that. So I wasn't. I wouldn't say I wouldn't have gone down this path. I just don't think it was really set in front of me.
Yeah, I can agree with that. When I was in high school, the only reason honestly I knew about manufacturing was because my grandpa, well, my great grandpa was in it, then my grandpa, then my dad. So they'd come home and talk about it, but it like nothing really resonated. I mean, I wasn't like, oh, yay, manufacturing. I want to be an attorney my whole life. But in school, I specifically remember, and maybe you did this when you were in high school, there was like that careers website where you would go on and you would put in, did you do this?
I'm not sure. I have
Okay. And I know they still do this now, so maybe they need to add manufacturing to the list. But I remember I went to the library and I had to sign up for this kind of what would you be good at? I can't remember the website, doesn't matter. You would put in like things that you're interested in, what you find your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and then a couple other things. And it basically auto populates this list of like, I don't know, it was maybe 10 to 20 careers that I would be good at. And I remember all of them being like medical, um, law, um, communications, like stuff like that. It wasn't like, oh, why don't you be in marketing and manufacturing? Or what about manufacturing? And when you said, it wasn't like I was going to be a machinist, but that's the great thing about manufacturing, right? You can get into it from the machinist side, from the programming side, engineering. I had someone tell me that they love fashion and they realized the reason that they liked fashion was because it started with a raw material and ended with something that was cool. And it was the same thing like manufacturing. So I remember that and it not being exposed in high school, and we're not that too far apart. So I can imagine it wasn't pushed for you either then.
it wasn't. And like I know you said you grew up in like an industrial family, your grandpa, your dad, but I didn't have that. Like my mom was a stay-at-home mom until I was 11, and then she went to work for a CPA firm. And my dad was like a technician for a cable company, so it wasn't like they're not these things aren't pushed at a home level where the parents aren't like introduced to these things as well. So it was like it's got to be introduced somewhere, and I feel like schools should have pushed that more.
So, with all that being said, we had the experience where we got into it by accident, by introduction from a close person, something like that. Where do you think, as a young person in manufacturing, where schools or just even what can schools do? What should they be doing? What can kids do? And what can we do in manufacturing? What can OEMs do? What can distributors do? What can machine shops do? Um, where do you think would have made the best difference?
I definitely think getting the kids like hands-on experience, like the tours. I think manufacturing day is like in October, and like these OEMs and like big shops will bring kids in from schools. I think that's great. I think that that's something that I would have liked to do if that was offered to me when I was younger. There's a lot of things that a lot of people like you and I are doing on social media right now where we're talking about it. And I think that's a really good start. But getting in there and really talking to the kids is really going to help. And that's something that I've been wanting to do like recently. And I know you've been at schools this year. I think like really talking to the kids and being able to see them in person and gain their interest and like answer their questions is going to help because like you can scroll through social media, but it's like how fast are you going to like scroll through it? The attention span is like, oh, this is boring. But if you're in there talking about it and they're seeing your energy, I feel like that's really going to help people.
I agree with that. I went to Chardon High School, which is my alumni. My boss, Scott Mazon, and I, we did that in, what was it, maybe March, mid-March. And the kids were like, some of them were super into it, some of them weren't, but like kids nowadays, everything's at their fingertips. Like if you're not in front of them, talking to them, like seeing something on social media is easy for them. Like they like to see that stuff. So you kind of have to find that way to connect with them. And so we did that, and it's a couple of them took our business cards, like took pictures of them. And this wasn't like any sort of employment push. It was just, hey, learn about manufacturing. And we told them we'd help them build a LinkedIn and things like that. Well, then we decided to like invite them to PMTS. And so they came to PMTS, the trade show in Cleveland, for those of you who don't know. And their eyes were like, I mean, they were like, I didn't know that this was so cool. And can you explain this machine to me and that and take me here and take me there? I'm like, just trying to tell you guys. So trade shows too, I think are, especially because that's like the utmost, everything is perfect. It's really fun. They're showing the best technology. Like that definitely, I think, also catches eyes. So if schools could get students or organizations that put on shows could get students more involved. I know IMTS does a good job with their student lounge and everything that they do with that. But yeah,
I know at Automate last week in Detroit, they had like an entire area for like kids who are interested in getting into like the schools from a college level. But there were a lot of younger kids there too, and that's the thing I like about trade shows is they make it like interactive for everyone. Like they were giving out coffees, which kids don't drink coffee, but I mean like they were giving out golf balls, and like they had lightsabers with some of them. And I posted something on like my Facebook to like my friends and family, and I had a friend who took her son the next day, and he had so much fun. And they let him like control the robot. It was cool, and I was like, that's what we need. We need like I didn't think that that was gonna happen by posting that on Facebook, but like she texted me and she was like, he loved it, and I was like, yes, this is what we need.
see, that is great. And it's funny that you brought that up because I was at some type of meeting and there was a panel, and this girl was like, you guys are talking about all these big scale things that we're doing, but what about just talking to your neighbor? What about making a post to your family and friends? What about talking to your brothers and sisters and letting them know that their kids could get into manufacturing? Like, it is so close to us too. Like, just like what you did. You made a post on Facebook, and then all of a sudden, someone you know brought their kid to the show, and now they're interested and have that interest, and hopefully they carry on with it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's something that's really cool. And there's a show in Grand Rapids this summer. It's called the Advanced Manufacturing Expo, and they were talking about bringing students into that too. So I really like that people in the industry are trying to push that too and get kids there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think we are definitely doing what we can in the industry. Obviously, everybody can do more, take different avenues, and some people don't have all the dollars in the world, but presentations and small things like that. I mean, posts on Facebook, those things make a difference, you know. And it's going to take all of us to come together and come up and make that push. So, yeah, but let's get into, so I love your story, fell in by accident. Um, we talked about all of that. Now let's talk about where you are now. So you are known as the Hat Woman. You are a social media guru. I log on every day at like 10 o'clock and I'm like, where is Hallie's post? I'm waiting to like it and share it and read what you are doing. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing now and kind of how you got there, because social media doesn't blow up overnight and it takes a lot of consistency and dedication to get where you are.
Yeah, definitely. So the hat girl thing, I took that off like my is it called a bio on LinkedIn? I don't even know the thing
That
that.
like header thing.
Yeah, I took it off there because I was like, I'm slacking. Can I even be called the hat girl anymore? I don't want to post it.
I am slacking. People cannot call me this anymore.
Right, but I mean, I still have the hats on my wall. But yeah, the hat girl, I like posted a photo of a hat like 2 years ago, like in a hat, and people just kept bringing me hats. And one of our vendors was like, "Yeah, you're the hat girl now?" And I was like, I guess I am. But yeah, but social media over time, really, like you said, it doesn't like. It's not like a snap your fingers type of thing. Like I think a lot of people think that, especially these newer shops who are bringing in like social media people. It's definitely going to take some time. I've been at it for 2 years now with IQ Manufacturing, and it's definitely like it's blown up more than I thought it would. But it took me a good 8 to 9 months to get it to where it is now. So it's definitely, which I'm sure you've experienced too. Like it's a lot of work, and it's not just like here, post this, and everybody knows who you are. So it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun as well. I just passed my 2 years at IQ, and I post every single day.
I love that. We need like a compilation of all the posts that you made in the last 2 years,
Yeah, it's
all in like a video.
yeah. And LinkedIn just did an update on the desktop version, and it's like you can go to your photos and scroll down. I'm like, what? How
Yes.
are people not annoyed with me? I post way too much, but I mean, it's the consistency too. Like
It,
you gotta be consistent.
exactly. So I know one of the things that we talked about, which we're going to tie right into social media, is you and I talked about how our technology in the industry, the machines, the inspection equipment, the automation, the things that people are doing to build the most advanced equipment in the world is so advanced. But it's like on that back end, we're a little bit, I feel like we're stuck. Like we're a little late. We're a little late.
Right.
So you seem to be kind of like an early adopter of social media for your company and what you are doing. I jumped on it in 2020 for our company, and our team got it really involved in that. Obviously, there were some other like early adopters and people that were pushing it.
Mhm.
So let's get into that. Let's give everyone that's listening some information about how to get started on social media, what types of things that you did for not only your personal brand, but for your company, um, to grow that and how it's affecting the leads that you guys are getting.
Yeah, definitely. So when I started at IQ, I started in 2021 in April, and they had barely any like presence on there. That was something that they put on the back burner because they were still a small team. And I got hired in as an administrative assistant, so I was supposed to help our CEO with like bills and documentation and doing payroll. And I'm not joking when I say I didn't touch that at all. Like I was there for 3 months, and they were like, "Oh, she might be good in this area of the business." So then we started it, and they were like, "Okay, you're doing social media." I
Oh
have
my
not,
God, you're like,
never
"Ah."
touched payroll, never done bills. I do help with documentation, but that's a different story. But social media, they started with barely any presence. The company page had 94 followers, and I will always remember that. But they had
Ours had like 101, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? Because all these 101 people are like people that work for us. I'm like,
right, right, right. And I was so nervous when I first started because it was a new. I'd been in it for a year, but it wasn't like I was super well trained in it, so I was still learning. Like I definitely know a lot more now than I did at that first shop that I worked at, but I was learning as I was going, kind of. And I have some experience in like marketing, so I knew how to tie that over. But trying to tie it into manufacturing was difficult for me because whenever I make a post, I try to make it tie back into the company and talk about that in some way. So that's another tip I have is just test the waters, see like what's grabbing people in and what's not, and just it's a fail and go type thing. Like don't get discouraged, keep going. There's a lot of things that will work and a lot of things that won't, and I've learned that along the way, and that'll just help you create more content for your viewers that they like that will grab them in to see like the company stuff as well.
it's great advice.
Yeah. Oh. But the like I said, it took me a while to get into it. Social media, it took like 8 months before we started to see any real like pull from it. But now we have customers from LinkedIn, straight from LinkedIn. We've had employees who see us on LinkedIn and they're working for us now. We're slowly going into like other social sites as well. So we're grabbing from different demographics like Instagram and Facebook. So definitely starting with one and then branching out helps as well, because you can reach so many people across these social platforms, and there's a lot of people out there that don't agree with it. And one of the things that I always say is like, the world is changing, and if you don't want to change with it, you're just going to fall behind. It's like automation. These shops that don't want to like integrate automation into their shops are just going to fall behind, and their competitors are just going to keep rising. And it's the same thing with social media, and I don't think many people realize that.
No, we always say if our competitors are doing it, there's no reason we shouldn't be. And we're always like, if we're not staying ahead, then we're falling behind. And at the end of the day, if you can make one click and 10,000 people can see your post, I mean, what's a better turnover rate than that? One out of odds would be one or two out of those 10,000 people are going to contact your company, and that's out of one post, you'd have to make one call or annoy that person or any, not annoy, but, you know, be persistent and over time and all that stuff. It just took one click of a post. And what you said that you guys took about 8 months to get finally get some return. That is one key thing that if you are listening and you're looking to get into social media, you're looking to grow your social media, it is not a post and an immediate return. It does take a while to develop your brand's tone, the type of engagement that you're getting, the type of things that you're going to start posting, starting to get that following. But once you get it, it grows. But a lot of people give up on social media within the first year because they're not seeing the return on it. And it's almost like you just got to hang on and really find your company's way. So for us, it was kind of similar. Scott Mazon brought me on to do a lot of our social media stuff, and one of his goals was to increase video. We were seeing that video is having really high conversion rates for lead generation and quality of leads. So that was one thing that we really focused on, and we kind of developed a tone that we wanted our brand, colors. I remember we would be like, what would Audie do? Like, we were comparing kind of the vibe that we wanted our customers to feel when they visited our social media pages. And that's kind of how we started. But I think it's important that to note that not everybody is going to yield the same result based on the type of content. You know, you could post a video and get 100,000 likes and views and all this stuff, and it works really great for you. But maybe a different type of machine shop, they do the same thing and they don't get the same results, and that's okay. You got to find what your people like to, your people that are following you and want to know more about you, want to know, and then grow from there. So only thing you can do is post a variety of content, see what gets the most engagement, and then go from there. And then continue those posts that get that good engagement.
Right, and that was one thing that was hard to figure out at first because I also have like the personal LinkedIn.
Yep.
Well, it's for the company, but it's my LinkedIn, and then the company one. So like trying to figure out like how to differentiate that content and like make it something that they would want to see on the company end, and then my end was hard to get to. So it's definitely it's gonna be like it's a tested trial. Like you got to test it out, like test the waters, post like you said, variety of content, and figure out what people enjoy seeing. And there's analytics available to you that will help you like differentiate what works and what doesn't.
Yes, you don't just need to scroll through LinkedIn and be like, this got 20 likes, this got 40 likes, this got 10 likes. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Do you guys use, so we use HubSpot as our CRM, and we post all of our company pages, not my personal page, but all of our company pages through the CRM. Do you guys have something similar, or how do you organize your content?
We don't. I organize the content literally by a week basis. Like,
Do you?
yeah,
Okay.
I'll write down exactly what I'm going to post and like give like a brief kind of like caption type thing, like a topic I want to talk about, and then like I'll type it like the week before so that I just have it ready to go.
Okay.
But that's just me posting it. I don't use any like form of like site to post that through.
So do you use like LinkedIn analytics then to track your stuff?
Yes, Google.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, we use LinkedIn Analytics is actually really great. I really like all their analytic platforms. I want them to like add more because they do a good job with it. I think they will as they see the platforms like growing more as like a marketing platform. But for HubSpot, we track a lot of our stuff through there too. So like if anyone listening is familiar with like a marketing campaign, like something like that, all of our social media is also linked to a particular campaign that we track. So every time we post, we'll be like, oh, this is a Matcha Eichele machining campaign because it's something to do with Mazak or Hydromat or something. And then we can go back and say, you know, out of the M&E machining campaign, how many dollars were touched by social media and things like that. So we can really track like dollar amounts and things like that. And I'm telling you, the people that say social media doesn't work, oh, it works.
Yeah,
We were just looking at the numbers last week.
it's insane to me to like hear people talk about how like they think it's ineffective. And I'm like, guys, you're not you're
You're
wrong.
trying
You're
hard.
wrong.
You just gotta fall in. You just
Right.
gotta open arms and go into it. So one thing that also I want to talk about with social media, and this will kind of maybe be the last thing here, but uh, I think personally, I think it's really important to kind of have that brand ambassador quote for your company. So LinkedIn is set up for personal pages to get more engagement than company pages.
Yep.
And that's why it's important if you are new to social media, anyone that's listening, whoever your company page is, make sure your salespeople and everybody is involved on that page and they are liking and sharing because really the company page is creating content for your salespeople to reach their people that they're connected with.
Right.
So, but I think a key factor is having a face of the brand. And you are the face of the brand of IQ Manufacturing. So you have your personal and you have the company, and you talked about the kind of the differences in the content.
Yeah.
But why don't you talk about the experience that you've had with growing your personal page and how that's positively affected IQ Manufacturing because we know that it has.
Right. So having that personal page has really helped like people go to the company page as well. So when I first started with social media, I kind of started like just branding myself a little bit so people could learn who we were. So Chris was pretty heavily on LinkedIn, and we have our machinist as well. But I started out for 4 months just posting like stuff about the company. I mixed in some personal stuff, and then as that grew, I gradually started to post for the company. And as my page grew, so did the company page. So it's like cross marketing kind of, but it's for IQ. But it really helped to have that brand there because I'll walk into like a room of people and someone will be like, "Oh, you work for IQ?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And they're like, "I see you on LinkedIn." Or my mom was at like a dinner the other night and she was like, "Oh yeah, this is my daughter," like talking, moms talking their daughters up. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, I see her on LinkedIn." I don't even know who this person is. So it's like it really helps, like especially in our local area. There's a lot of this going on, and people will see me, and then they'll go to the company page. Just like with you, Shae, they'll go to the HEH group because you have a lot of companies that you market for. But they see that, and it helps grab those people to your company page as well. So I definitely recommend like having that like brand ambassador, we'll call it, because it can help you tremendously. And I see a lot of people doing it now. There's a lot more people coming on there that have that ambassador who will like give the content and then link it, and then they're getting more to their company page. So it just helps overall, honestly.
Yeah, and you know what I relate it back to is people always say in sales, relationships is key. So when you have a company, all you're saying is the company name, the company logo, it's company. You can make it as personal feel as you want, but at the end of the day, it's still a professional platform. It's still a professional feed that you're getting posted on the company page. But the second you link a face to a company, then you get that personal feel because now they're reading your stories and now they're reading your captions and now you got them invested in what you're doing and ultimately what your company is doing. So that was kind of like for us, it was like we kind of wanted to give a face for the HEH group. And I am not as nearly active on my personal LinkedIn as I want to be and or should be. You are extremely active. You do an awesome job. I hope one day I can get to posting every day. At least on my personal page, we do on the company pages, but that the support that you get from the LinkedIn community and everybody on there, people that like and share your content, that gives a personal face to your company. It bridges that relationship from, okay, company, person, marry them. So I think that that's super important, and you've been doing an awesome job of that. And anybody listening that's looking for a great example of a brand ambassador, jump on Hallie's LinkedIn, connect with her, talk with her about it. I'm sure you'd be happy to answer any questions. Same with myself, but yeah, having that brand ambassador, I agree, is a really good route to kind of growing both sides. And companies can't be afraid to let their employees do that and grow that page for themselves.
One thing I'm grateful for like our CEO and COO, they kind of like, not that they don't monitor it because they do, but they have kind of let me just kind of take the reins for it. And like I'll ask them like, "Hey, can I post this?" Or like stuff in the shop that we have to like not show because of our compliances. They'll be like, "No, just don't show that." But like most of it is just like, "I'm gonna do this today," and they're like, "Okay."
All right. As long as it's working, right? Analytics program's working, everything is working. So to wrap the social media conversation up, Hallie is an awesome example, like I said. So is IQ Manufacturing. They have a great story. Hallie has a great story. Um, People, if you're not on social media, 93% of industrial marketers are using social media platforms, whether that's most of them are LinkedIn, utilizing YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Those are the younger demographics. And then obviously really young, mostly on TikTok, which I'm hearing some people get into. We have not touched it yet. I don't know if you guys have. Have you?
Yeah.
We gotta do it. We just gotta be able to pump out that content that TikTok requires. It's a lot.
Oh yeah, it's a lot. And I, for the longest time, was like I didn't want to get on the app at all because I was like I don't even know how to make these videos. Like this, but we got on there. And we have gotten quite a bit. Like the company, I have a personal, not related to the company at all, TikTok, and they have more followers than me already. The IQ company. And I'm like, how is this happening? Like,
You know what? Actually, we're talking about young people in manufacturing. Getting on TikTok, getting on Instagram, that's where the young people are. So even if it's not a huge return on leads and things like that yet, or maybe it is already, I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research on the TikTok side, but at least you're doing your part in touching the younger generation. So either way, I think that's an awesome return. But, get on those platforms, you guys, do your research and take the time that you need to figure out what your audience likes. Again, if 93% of industrial marketers are using social media, we're obviously seeing a return on it that is trackable through profit, leads, etc. So get on there. Just all you need is your phone that has great cameras. Get a ring light from Amazon for 20 bucks, whatever, and start doing your thing. There's a lot of free platforms out there too for graphic design. So little advice there on the social media side, but let's jump into the next topic. We got into this on our initial meeting, which is women in manufacturing. I'll say it first so you don't have to. Number one question that I get and I don't like is, what is it like being a woman in manufacturing?
yes, I agree. It's like a lot of people are like, oh, women need to be here. Like they need to be here just as much as us. They can do anything that they want to in this industry. But then they ask us what it's like being a woman in the industry, and it's like you're still kind of segregating us in a way. You're like it's like I'm just here. I work. Like no.
Yeah, I'm just here. I work, and one thing that we talked about was it's not being, for me at least, it's not being a woman. It's not having the expertise. Just as like another young guy might be coming into the industry and might you get so intimidated. I mean, when they're like, "Oh yeah, the five axis machine is A, B, C. Oh, you don't know the Z height and the whatever," and I'm like, it is like a different language. So jumping into that, regardless of who you are, what you do, there's nothing else like it in the world that you're going to learn about uh, spindles and RPMs and different axes on a vertical machining center. I mean, nothing.
Yeah. Just like when they ask that question, I'm just like, it does intimidate us because it's like, wait, am I like, is it supposed to be different? Like,
Yeah,
no, I work in the shop every day and I don't get treated any differently than the other people at work, which is I'm grateful for. But it's like when they ask me that question, I'm like, should it be different? Should I be feeling a different way? So yeah, I don't
I
like.
feel the same way. I feel the same way. I'm like, uh, well, am I doing something wrong? Because I
Right.
feel fine. I'm like, but I think, you and I both have had good experiences so far, in the industry and learning and not being afraid to ask questions and doing those things. So whether you are a young guy or woman getting into the industry, know that there's people out there that are going to respect you if you're going to come with confidence and your willingness to learn.
Right.
If you and I would have came to the industry, stuck up, think we know it all like that, I don't care who you are, you're not going to get the respect that you want.
No, that's one thing I definitely didn't want to do because I didn't want to walk in a room full of people and they asked me a question about like, what's the difference between 3 axis and 5 axis? And at that time I didn't know. And I was like, I'm not going to pretend like I know because then they'll just look at me like I'm some stupid little girl, right?
Yeah, they're like,
Took the time to learn it, just like you have with your educational videos. Like knowing the stuff really helps you talk about it, especially in a setting when you need to talk about it with people who already know it. So yeah, definitely recommend that.
yeah, I agree with that as well. I think if tying the marketing side into learning side and tying it all together, for me, I do a lot of like machine overviews and things like that. And so that's one of the main things that helped me learn about the technology, the different language, like the languages and the second spindles and the sub spindles and the tailstocks and all that stuff, was taking a piece of equipment, breaking it down, really learning it, talking to our applications guys. I mean, our application guys are probably really sick of me. And if they're listening to this, they're probably laughing because they know that I bug them all the time. Like I recently told one of our apps guys, his name's Mike Zillich, he's awesome. I'm like, Mike, I need you to teach me how to work on the machine so I could like go to a service call. I'm like I want to do this. I want to machine a part. And he's like, okay, okay, Shae. He's a great guy. But at the end of the day, it takes, and I saw a statistic the other day, 61% of the United States have dual income now. 61%, that's 6 out of every 10 people. That is crazy. So, women, you are smart, you are reliable, you can get into the industry, find a niche that you like. If you like sales, don't go sell cars. If you like fashion, maybe you'll like engineering and design where you can use CAD CAM software to draw up those things. But don't be afraid to get into the industry because it's male dominated. That's just right now. If 61% of homes are dual income, it is going to trend in the way that we're going to get more women into this industry. And women, have some confidence, know what you're doing, learn your stuff, and you will go leaps and bounds in the industry.
And there are so many career paths just within manufacturing that you can go into, and it's crazy. And it's like there's room for everyone. Just come in. Just come in.
Just come in. We love you. We already do. Just come on in and we'll accept you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for advancement, I brought that up in the beginning of the episode, just talking about you can start. I have like 10 stories right now in my head that I can think of where somebody started painting the shop floor, or they started just as an apps guy, and now they're a general manager, a CEO. They moved here, they moved there. They're the best selling person over years in their territory. Yeah, there's just so many different directions that you can take it, and so many different things that you may have a passion for that you don't realize you can relate back to
Right.
manufacturing.
We have our sales guy, and he has a picture on his desk of him working a machine from like when he was like in
No way.
20s, mid 20s. Yeah, it's really cool to see it because and that same machine's on our floor.
No
So
way.
he loves to tell the story. He's like, I back in my day I worked that machine, and now he's our sales guy. Like,
Oh my gosh, that is a good story. But I mean, that's a good story. But even, you and I are sitting here, we both did not plan on getting into manufacturing, and somebody gave us a chance.
right,
If that's not, enough to show that manufacturing is willing to accept and teach the
right,
people that are willing to learn and have interest, we're two prime examples right here.
right. And definitely work for a company that's gonna like support you and push you to keep moving forward because there's companies out there that won't. But I will say like don't give up because I almost left this industry after working for that first CNC shop that I was at, and like I don't know where I would be right now if I wasn't with IQ. Like honestly, like find the company that's gonna help you, like push you forward, help you learn. Like there's so much opportunity for so many of us here.
Yeah, that's so refreshing to hear. You almost quit. You came back. Somebody gave you a chance, a company that really is doing everything they can to be modern and grow and do all those things. And don't get me wrong, I am sure there is companies out there like you said that don't, and I'm sure there's people out there that have other experiences, but not as positive experiences as we do. But the industry is trending in a positive direction. The industry is trending in a way that more women are getting into it. More women are dominating marketing and sales and things like that. And we are going to work together. That's how we're going to succeed, whether it's trying to get more young people into manufacturing, whether, whatever it is. That's how manufacturing is going to succeed, is bringing the parents, the students, the men and the women all together to say, we're going to do this, and we are going to bring the not technology side, because that's already super advanced, but the other side to match it up and then continue to grow both ends.
And we need that. So
Yeah. Well, before we get off, I want to have some questions. I am calling this like my max out. I love the gym, so I am maxing out. We are maxing out these questions. So the what'd you say?
I just clicked. I'm like the max out, right?
Yes, because I need to max out when you like max out
Yeah.
on like bench press or something. So the last few questions, I'm calling them the max out questions, because
Okay.
we are maxing the episode out. All right, so the first question is, what life lesson did you have to learn the hard way? And don't be afraid to tell it.
Life lesson that I had to learn the hard way. Probably the like. I always say this, and I don't know if this is like something I had to learn the hard way, but like getting out of that comfort zone, which I always say, but like like I said in the beginning, I was like this super shy girl that could barely go up to the McDonald's register and ask for sweet and sour sauce. Like that was me. That was me 8 years ago. And one of the things I really learned is like getting out of my comfort zone forced me to push myself for more. And I feel like that's a really big lesson that other people need to hear, because like there's a lot of people that are just stuck in that shell, and learning how to get out of my own way was something that I needed. So I'd say that's probably my biggest lesson.
No, I think that's great because I think a lot of people deal with that. A lot of people are shy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being shy, but there's a way to find what you're passionate about and use your strengths to your advantage and grow as a person. So to know that you did that in such a short amount of time, I mean, 8 years is like goes by like that, you know. So yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so how do you want the manufacturing industry to view you?
Hmm, that's a tough one. Shay, we are maxing out.
I told you we are maxing out.
How do I want them to view me? I would say I just want them to view me as someone who's influential but also learning at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, I haven't been here long, but I want to be someone that can influence like a younger generation to join this as well and keep learning. Because in this industry, it's ever changing. Technology is always evolving. You're never gonna be at one point where like, oh, that's all I've learned. That's all I can learn. You're gonna keep learning. Like today, someone told me something about a spindle, and don't ask me what it was because I already forgot. But like, I don't,
It's okay. I'm sure I did the same thing today.
I already forgot. But that's how I just someone influential that has they can see start from nothing and come up and learn and grow
Yeah,
and just keep growing. So
absolutely. I love that. And then the last question is who has influenced your career the most and why?
can it be two different people?
Yeah, it could be 10 different people.
Definitely, I'll say first of all, my parents. They literally are like my support system, like as they should be. But they literally push me or are there for me as I push myself into these careers. My parents, like I said, knew nothing about it, and they were like, "Just go for it, just go for it." But now that I'm here, I would probably say our CEO and our COO, Hallie Haupt and Chris Branke. I've said this before, and I could preach about how great they are for hours. But like having those people who help you learn and guide you through it, and don't they if I ask a question, they don't act like I'm dumb or something. They explain it in a way that I will understand it and use analogies in like everyday life to help me understand it. And I think like having them like in my corner really helps. And they support literally everything I do, and they are like they give such great advice, and I don't think I could be any more grateful to have these bosses. So definitely two of the people that have influenced me the most, and they keep doing it. They keep influencing.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I think everyone needs to have people, whether it's someone that you look up to on the internet, well, you might not get advice from them, but someone that inspires you that way, your parents, go Hallie's parents for being supportive, by the way, and go everybody at IQ Manufacturing for bringing you in and lifting you up, helping you learn and grow your career, because you can tell that, I mean, you are succeeding, and the only way to have that success is to have that support system. It's really hard to do it on your own. So good for you. I'm super proud of everything that you're doing. I'm excited that you're in the industry. I love following along your stuff. So, yeah, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you very much, and I continue to be in amazement of the things that you're doing as well. So I love having this support system between like all the women in the industry.
Yeah,
It's really great to have that encouragement as well.
I agree. I agree. Well, awesome. I hope to have you on again soon. Maybe we'll pick another topic to talk about and go on about it for like an hour.
Right.
All right. Well, that is awesome. Hallie, thanks so much for being on the podcast. Everyone listening, thank you for joining in on this week's of Manufacturing Muscles podcast with Hallie Haupt. We're really excited about everything that she's doing in the industry and with IQ Manufacturing. We'll leave all of her social medias and IQ Manufacturing's website and everything that they do in the description. Be sure to give them a follow and stay tuned for the next episodes. Be sure to like, subscribe, share this podcast with your friends, and we hope to see you again soon. Signing off.